Hello and welcome to This Explainer. I am so incredibly thrilled to have you here today because we're jumping straight into a topic that's been making huge waves lately. If you're tuning in, you probably already know about the elephant in the room. The GATE 2027 notifications just dropped. And man, whenever GATE makes a move, it's like a domino effect, right? A massive wave of anticipation, and let's be totally honest, a little bit of anxiety just sweeps through the student community about IIT Jam. Everyone is suddenly wondering how this impacts their own timeline. Well, take a deep breath, because today we're going to clear the air entirely.
Okay, let's dive into this. The big question literally keeping so many ambitious students awake at night is, when exactly is IIT Jam 2027 going to happen? It's a massive pain point. I mean, you need to plan your study schedules. You need to know when to expect the notification, when to register, and obviously when you'll actually be sitting down in that exam hall. So our mission in this explainer is to solve this scheduling mystery for you. We're going to use hard facts and clear data so you can stop second-guessing and start focusing entirely on your prep.
Section 1. Analyzing past exam trends. Let's get right into the historical data, because looking at the past is absolutely the best way to predict our timeline here.
To figure out exactly where we're going in 2027, we first need to look at where we've been. And honestly, the good news is that the data is incredibly consistent. The organizing bodies for exams like JAM and GATE do an absolutely phenomenal job of sticking to the script. We really have to thank them for this, because it means these exams basically never stray from their historical schedules. They don't just randomly jump around from month to month. When a date is essentially set by historical precedent, it happens exactly when it's supposed to.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what I mean. Just look at the consistency here. For the 2024 exam cycle, the notification dropped in early August of 2023. Registrations opened right on cue on September 5th, and the exam was held on February 11th, 2024. Now fast forward to 2025, a late July notification, just a hair earlier, with a September 3rd registration and a February 2nd exam. The pattern is completely unwavering. We're talking an early August or late July notification, followed by an early September registration, leading straight into a February exam.
Notice how incredibly tight that actual exam window is too. Looking at recent historical exam dates, February 2nd, 11th, 12th, and 13th, the broader trend is crystal clear. Now, while the 2025 exam was uniquely early, hitting on February 2nd, the exam reliably falls within the first 2 weeks of February, almost always on a Sunday. It doesn't drag out into late February or March. The organizers literally have this down to a science, operating in a highly predictable early to mid-February window.
Section 2. Predicted dates for 2027. All right, this is where it gets exciting. Let's shift our focus to the precise, data-driven predictions for the 2027 cycle. Let's move to and see how this builds our projected roadmap for 2027. Armed with all of that rock-solid historical data, here is what to expect. Based on those unwavering trends, the official notification will likely drop in late July or early August of 2026. Shortly after that, expect the registration portal to open up right around September 5th, 2026. This gives you a really nice, clear runway leading straight up to the main event in February 2027. We already know roughly when everything is going to happen, which means there are absolutely zero excuses for being caught off guard here. But you know what? We can actually get even more specific than just February. Based on the traditional Sunday scheduling of the exam, if we pull up the calendar for February 2027, the absolute most probable dates for the IIT Jam are either Sunday, February 7th or Sunday, February 14th. It is highly, highly likely that your exam will hit on one of these two specific days. So if you're wondering exactly what day you need to be at your peak mental performance, it's going to be the 7th or the 14th. You can practically set your watch by it. Section 3. Your next steps. Knowing the dates is awesome, but it's only half the battle. Now we need to pivot from just waiting around to actively taking control.
We really need to talk about the psychology of exam prep for a second, because as these milestones approach, anxiety naturally spikes for almost every single student. It usually happens in 3 distinct stages. Stage 1 hits when that notification drops in late July. Suddenly, the exam feels incredibly real. Stage 2 kicks in when the form portal closes. Now you are locked in. And the final, most intense spike happens at Stage 3, when the admit cards drop and the countdown truly begins. If you are prepared, these milestones can be totally overwhelming. The only real, proven antidote to this rising panic, it's putting your head down and studying hard right now while the pressure is still low.
So, the crucial point is how you actually choose to handle this timeline. On one side, you have the last-minute student. They wait for the notification to take things seriously. And by the time they start, anxiety is sky high, and they're just frantically rushing with the crowd at the end.
Everyone studies hard at the very end. But on the other side, you have the early preparer. This student uses the massive window of time we have right now to study consistently. When those milestones hit, they aren't anxious, they're confident. If you want to achieve something exceptional, you've got to separate yourself from the pack by putting in the quiet, unglamorous work today, long before that notification even drops.
I want to leave you with this core motivational message straight from our source material. Believe in your own hard work. There are no shortcuts here, guys. The timeline is set, the dates are totally predictable, and the only variable left in this equation is your effort. Your self-belief combined with immediate, focused work are the absolute most powerful tools you have right now. Trust the process, trust the time you're putting in today, and trust that it will pay off massive when February 2027 rolls around.
Which brings us to our final question for this explainer. Are you ready to stop waiting and start studying? You have the timeline, you know the milestones, and you know the exact dates to target. The anxiety of the unknown? It's completely gone. The ball is entirely in your court now. So close those extra tabs, grab your notes, and let's get to work. Thank you so much for joining me to break down this timeline, and I highly encourage you to take this clarity and turn it into massive action.